I believe there's a big advantage in working and operating in the legal industry or in the law industry and not having a law background. So my route to being a solicitor and starting my own solicitor's practice and so on is completely different to the traditional typical route. The traditional typical route that you might see would be for a young person perhaps to study law in university, then go on to do the FE1s. They're the exams, the entrance exams essentially to the Law Society, and then to get an apprenticeship with one of the big firms, and then to qualify as a solicitor, and once qualified as a solicitor, then to either continue working in the industry as a solicitor or to, oh geez, there's the train. I was watching for the fucking train yesterday and I missed it. As I was saying, there's a typical route for a solicitor. Most solicitors, they study law in university. They go to college and study law to do the FE1s. They get an apprenticeship with a big firm to qualify as a solicitor. And then they either start out on their own or they work in a big firm or in a firm as a solicitor for a number of years, and eventually they might make partner, and eventually they might decide they want to do their own thing, and they might decide to strike out on their own. That's not the route that I took. My route was completely different. I come from a completely different background. I come from retail, property development, property investment, and general small business entrepreneurship and hustle. And I think it's a huge advantage to me, quite frankly, in building my solicitor's practice and developing my solicitor's practice in the way that I've done it. The way I've done it. Why the hell is that? Because the main reason, I suppose, is a lot of the problems to do with running a solicitor's practice and running one fairly successfully is a recognition that even though you might be a solicitor and it might be a solicitor's practice, it's essentially a small business that you've got to get up and running. You've got all of the other problems that are associated with many, many small businesses, and you have the big problem of getting clients, getting customers basically for your business. If you come from a background which is protected, which has involved a very traditional route through university, through the FE1s, through an apprenticeship, through a big firm, through partnership and so on. If you spend a number of years on that route, the very traditional, very standard route, and then you're kind of thrown in at the deep end, or you jump in at the deep end, start your own practice, and you have to run a business, run your practice like a business, generate clients and so on, I think you're far less equipped to do so than somebody who has run a business in a number of different industries. For example, retailing, for example, hustle, property development, investment, buying and selling properties, flipping them, doing them up, dealing with suppliers, dealing with builders, dealing with planning authorities and so on. I think that background, that varied background, is a far better preparation to help you succeed as a solicitor. And that's why I actually think the fact that I've come from such an unorthodox, non-standard background is a huge help to me in growing my practice. Firstly, in starting the bloody practice, and secondly, in growing it. And at the outset, I might have been thinking to myself, God, I'm so different from all the other solicitors that I come across. And they have gone to Trinity or gone to UCD and studied law and so on. And they've had a very traditional route, and I might have seen that initially as a disadvantage, but not now. Now I see it a huge advantage that I can run my practice like a business, because let's face it, it is a business. And we can talk about law and we can talk about justice, but I go out of business, I fold up my tent and go if I don't get clients. And that focus on getting clients, generating fee income, turnover, call it what you will, is something that you're going to have coming from the background I came from, as opposed to the more traditional, more standard, more sheltered, dare I say, background of the traditional route to becoming a solicitor. Hope you find this video useful. If you do, I'd appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up down below. And you may be interested in subscribing to my YouTube channel. I'm walking down the Canal bank here in Enfield. It's lunchtime. It's I think the 27th or 28th of May 2024. There's a barge down there. You see it down there. It's a lovely spot for a walk. And lately I've just grabbed, this is the harbour here. Apparently it's called the harbour. But lately I've just strolled down here at lunchtime, only for 10 minutes or so, but I brought this camera with me, the Osmo Pocket 3 camera, and it's very, very handy for making videos. The image quality is good and the audio, I think, is pretty good, so it's just so handy, so convenient. It's an Osmo Pocket 3, DJI Osmo Pocket 3 camera. It's very, very good. It's handy for doing these videos. And I'm going to do a few of these videos from the Canal Bank sessions, or the Canal Bank tapes, if you like to call it that. That's the intention, especially obviously if the weather is good. Weather's not so good today. Weather was great yesterday. But I'm hoping to do a few more of these and just share thoughts and maybe share a bit of wisdom that might help a person who's thinking about getting into the legal industry, becoming a solicitor, running their own business, regardless of what the business is, etc. And there are some universal truths, some universal principles that are applicable to all businesses, all small businesses. But the problem is, if you come from a very sheltered background, whether it's accountancy or whether it's law or any other profession, the danger is that that sheltered background is not going to equip you well to deal with the hustle and grind of starting and building a small business like a solicitor's practice that will succeed. Hope you find the video useful. Welcome to Enfield, Fair Trail.